Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another session of the AI Camp Immersion Workshop, the holiday study group. Happy New Year for those just joining. Anyone joining us today, Happy New Year. This is the first session we're doing in the new year, and happy to have you all here today. And yeah, so I'm just going to run through quickly what we're doing today and also do a bit of housekeeping. So today is day 5 of the 7 days AI immersion workshop. We're talking about open source model today, introducing into Ollama, your local LLM powerhouse. And yeah, so just a quick background. So AI Camp is the organization, is the community running this workshop. We're a global AI developer community of 400,000 plus developers from 100 countries. Our mission is to empower every developer to learn and practice AI from anywhere at any time. Our local communities are in North America, Europe, and APAC. This session is currently being handled by the local community in London, that's in Europe. And how to get involved. So you can join our community of builders, community of volunteers. You can also submit a topic to speak at any of our events, maybe in person or virtual event. You can also sponsor meetups with your venue or drinks or prizes at our workshop or at our hackathons. You can also help us connect with us to collaborate with your event. And you can reach out to us as info@aicamp.ai. And our learning event, we try to do first here in London, we do 2 in-person meetups every month, 2 in-person meetup every month. So in the month of January, we're also hosting events, and we also do virtual workshops. So there's a global stream of virtual workshop that happens every week around 5 p.m. 9 a.m. PST. So look out for the future ones coming up. And this is a London team. I'm Sam. David is on the call. T-Boy is also on the call, as well as Subash and Kevin. So this 7 days immersion holiday study program was brought to you by AI Camp and this team. And yeah, so the flow for this workshop is going to be like a 30-minute session every 6 p.m. GMT, hands-on practice and live coding. These are the tools that are being used: Google Colab, Ollama, Bedrock, Gemini, OpenAI, and IDX. We've been using IDX as our virtual work environment and if you're just joining us, you can go back to some of our videos or go back to our README file on GitHub to be able to set that up. And this is the roadmap. This is what the roadmap looks like. So day 1, we talked about AI ML foundational model. Day 2, we focused on cloud AI, that's AWS Bedrock, cloud integration and cloud development. Day 3, we talked about the multimodal AI, that's Gemini, focused on Gemini, talking about using different mixed data types, text, images, videos, and different types of generation. On 31st of December, that's 2 days ago, we talked about OpenAI, API integration, assistant fine-tuning. And today, which is day 5, we're going to be talking about local LLMs, talking about Ollama setup. Before every event, before every sessions like this, we do share the breakdown of the session ahead of time so you can interact and also learn on your own pace. So this session is just to complement your learning. So it's not to replace your learning. So your learning is happening in the background, while this session is just to complement your learning. And as I ran over the schedule earlier, talked about the tools needed, and I've explained the demo, and also the communication is that we expect more questions on Slack. This is just like a snippet. So this session is just like a snippet, just to help you understand how it works and also give you a practical explanation. So we expect you to ask more questions when you're practicing it on your own. So once you ask questions on Slack, we'll be happy to answer. You can tag me, you can tag David, you can tag Subash, or you can tag Sibo. right? We also post resources and learning resources on our Canvas as well. Yeah, so pretty much that housekeeping. I try to make it as short as possible. I'm going to stop sharing now and welcome David up on stage.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Sam, for the intro. Very lovely to see all of you. Just give me a moment. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Slideshow. That should come up for everyone.
Yes.
Yep. Awesome. Okay, so I get to it. I'm very happy to see everyone here, and thank you all for continuing on the journey with the AI immersion study group. So today is day 5, and we saw the roadmap earlier. We are almost halfway through now. Appreciate all the questions that you've been posting. I see you guys been really working hard on the GitHub code, and we've even got some issues put on the GitHub repo as well. So I appreciate the guys who've been letting us know, looking out for bugs. That's really awesome. So today we're gonna dive into another aspect of LLMs, and today the focus is on local LLMs. So we're gonna focus on the Ollama framework today. So what's Ollama? It's an open source framework that makes it easy to access local LLMs. So really simple. If you go on to ollama.ai, then you can see what they're doing, their blog, download and install the things, and their latest models they have available, right? So, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please feel free to post in the Slack or the chat. There's a team that will help to moderate that. Okay, so today I'm just gonna go through like couple of things to get you into the mood of Ollama. First, we're gonna go through a bit of like an introduction deck with the slides, just to get some theoretical foundation. It's gonna be quite light and easy, digestible. And then we're gonna spin up Ollama to show you how it looks like in the CLI. And eventually we'll end up with the use case demo. So we have 2 demos to go through today. So I hope it'll be fun. Okay, so why local LLMs? We have like OpenAI, we have Gemini, we have AWS. All these are the big tech players, and have you seen they have really powerful models? They have very good and accessible APIs already, as we've gone through from day 2, 3, and 4. So it's already really quite accessible. But what's the advantage of using local LLMs? I would say first thing is, if your institution or business values privacy, then local LLMs is the way to go, because that's a way for you to encapsulate and keep all the information flow within your own ecosystem, right? If you need to access things offline, you can run local LLMs on your own hardware, and there's no need for any internet access. If you have the necessary hardware already, you have a pretty good GPU, it's actually can be quite cheap, because you don't need to send off requests off to a different provider. You can run everything on-prem. So that might be something that you want to consider. Because I remember there's someone on the previous call who's running things on the edge compute. That might be one of the key advantages that you want to consider local LLMs. And the nice thing is you get fine-tuned control over the model that you want to choose with Ollama. All right. So just to break down the models, Meta, for example, has provided an open source multimodal and multilingual LLMs. So Llama 3.1, 3.2, and 3.3 are the latest LLMs by Meta AI. Llama 3.2 in particular is a very small and quite fast LLM that you can use on the local setting. Okay, so that's the one that we're going to try out today. So nice thing is you have these open source models which you know their weights, you can look into what they're used for, their training data, and you can take them and deploy them wherever you want, on your desktop, on your own servers, on your own cloud, right? Yeah, so at this juncture, since we're talking about models, I thought we can just have a look at the models. So if we go on to that link that I showed earlier, this is the Ollama GitHub, and there's a lot of models that they support already. Okay, so these were the ones that we're talking about, Llama 3.2. It's a pretty small model with about 3 billion parameters and size of 2 gigs. Okay, so you have an even smaller version with 1 billion parameters and 1.3 gigs. So just to quickly take a note here, if you're running this on local, that's the memory and RAM requirement that you need to at least cover. So I say if you're running Llama 3.21b, then you need about an additional 2 gigs of RAM, which is quite accessible actually. And I've seen this run as well on Edge, on Android, on iOS. So you can get these running right in the palm of your hand, which is really, really cool. But just to take a note also, you know, that there are lots of different kind of models already available via Ollama. There's all, I like Llama 2 as well, but if you go down to here, Lava is also quite a nice model, which is a multimodal kind of thing. You get a vision plus text kind of understanding as well. So it's already like really accessible and really awesome. We're gonna have a play with this soon. All right. Yeah. Oh, and just very light technical details on this. So how do they get these models running locally? You can run them even on some CPU compute as well for the models. The key here is because they've crunched and reduced the size of the models by really great AI research. So they use this technique, one of it is called quantization, where you reduce the precision of the calculations taking place in the model itself. All right. So just in very simple terms, what it means is the number of decimal points and precision that the model uses to calculate its output is much reduced. So you go from, say, 16 decimal points to 4 or less with higher level of quantization. Okay, so the benefits here, as I said, is get a smaller model, you get it running on less compute, it's cheaper, it's faster, and the nice thing is that you don't have any network latency. So no API calls to the cloud coming back, it's all running locally. So that's huge benefit there. Okay. And just to give like a 10,000 feet overview again on what we're doing with AISG. So today we just want to contrast, you know, how you guys have been sending API calls via the SDKs to different big tech providers. So on the right side, you see the gray part. So if I just want to illustrate here that what happens when you send a prompt in your browser, that goes to OpenAI. And of course, that prompt goes into a LLM where you run the API calls. Yeah. But there's quite a lot happening also in the background where, you know, these calls are logged. There might be some different processes happening within the OpenAI server that you don't know. It's a private place, so they do have some say on what data you put in. All right. In contrast, in the blue side, if we're using Ollama, we can run everything locally. So run it on your own compute. So you send a prompt from your computer, it goes into Ollama, and Ollama makes the API call to your local LLM. Then you get that response back to yourself. Okay. So as you can see already here, just illustrating again the differences is there's less latency, of course. Just the distance of it is much shorter, and it's a lot simpler. Yeah. But yeah, just to tie in what we've been doing. So we have like different API calls that you can send off to different LLMs. And Ollama is just another flavor of it. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I see Subhash has been addressing some questions. Thank you. I'm in presenter mode. Please do highlight if you have any questions you want me to address right now. But otherwise, I will crack on with the GitHub. Okay. So for today, if you go on to the ASG7 GitHub, the link is in the canvas or over the Slack. You get a nice README, and that kind of walks you through the stuff that we're going to go through today. Don't worry too much about awesome, Thomas. Don't worry too much about the taking notes, writing down stuff. It's all recorded. What we're gonna do is basically, I'm just gonna run through what is in the text here, do a live demo for you guys, and after the call, you can go and test it out yourself. Okay. So we're gonna skip over to here. The main thing we're going to do is that you need to first install Ollama onto your own operating system. So they have installers that's specific for Windows, Mac, or Unix. Go to ollama.ai, and that will give you the right installer. Once you install it, then you can use the models that you want to choose, run, and send the prompts. Okay, so we're going to try that out now. Let's see. Okay, give me a moment. All right, so you should see my desktop. I'm gonna bring up Ollama now. So I have a basic terminal here. It's gonna increase the size so it's easy to see. So if you install Ollama correctly, you can access the CLI. I think on Mac as well, you get a nice tiny icon that you can access in the taskbar. But I'm using Windows Subsystem Linux. Okay, so if you do Ollama spell, you see that it's already running in your CLI. So what you should do is we want to send like basic prompts at the moment. What I do is you can do Ollama pool and the model name that you want. Okay. So for example, if you want Ollama pool Llama 3.2, if you do that, that will download the Llama 3.2 server model from the server onto your local machine and store it there. Okay. So once you download that, I've done it already, but when you do it, you can see the progress bar. I've done it already. Once you've done it, you can see it stored. Ollama, what's it? List. Oops. So I need to do Ollama serve first. So that will start the Llama server. Just give me a second. So I have the server running on this tab here. Let me clean this up for you. Okay. And if we do Ollama list, that will show you the models that you've already downloaded. Okay. So I have Llama 3.2. That's the billion parameters version, and also have Llama 2, which we're gonna test out. So maybe we can just try Ollama. Okay, Brian says, I had to use Ollama run as well. Yeah, so I think it depends on the system. This is how it works for me. But on the docs, it just says, just go Ollama run your model, and that will already download the model and serve it as well to get a 2-in-1. Yeah. But I think because I'm using a virtualization on Windows, that's kind of a bit different for me. But we can do Ollama run Llama 3.2. And that will begin starting up the server for Llama 3.2. Yeah, there you go. So you go into here. This is my Ollama server. You can see that it's already loaded in the model. You can see the weights and all that stuff. Yeah, and then you can send your prompts that you want to do. Okay, so we can ask it, what do you think about AI cam? And how is the AI immersion study group going? So this is all happening locally. It's pretty fast. As you can see, it's running completely on my compute. I don't even have a GPU, and it's working well. Oh, yeah, so I say AI camps are popular, increasingly popular, and great place to learn about AI. That's sweet. So if you go back here, you can see that it's actually running here. Yeah. And it's sending the post request and API calls within my device itself. Okay. So any questions at this juncture? Mike, does Ollama allow calls from Jupyter Notebook? Yes, actually you can connect it. So Tibor has saying he's tested it on IDX as well. And yes, you can use Python frameworks to connect to Ollama. There's lots of ways to connect to Ollama really. So I'm going to use Python as well in one of the demos. Okay, so we're gonna do a very simple demo that uses local offline translation. All right, so I'm gonna switch over the different model for that. So Ollama is so I've tested this. This is a model that's fine-tuned for Japanese to English translation. It's based on the Llama 2 model that was released. Llama 2 is actually pretty good for learning and translating text because it's trained over over 100 languages. But this is fine-tuned as well. So just to take note here, what are these parameters right at the end? 2B means there's 2 billion parameters. Dash instruct means the model is also additionally fine-tuned to receive instructions as within the chat setting. And Q8 here means that it's quantized to 8 bits within each calculation, right? 8 bits or 2 bytes of memory with each calculation. Each way is compressed in that sense, all right? So let's run that. So run this. Yeah, I can pull out this nifty thing here just for fun. So you can see it's really using up my CPU. And as we do the translation text as well, you can see the compute going up. Okay. So here, let's kick off. So I'll say, please start English to Japanese. Sorry, Japanese to English translation. This says okay, we're ready. So if you're in a pinch, you're stuck in Japan somewhere, you don't have internet access. This might be a nice way of doing it. So I've just got a Japanese news site here, just a random one. I think it's called Asahi News. And say I can't read Japanese at all, I need some help there. You can run this all on your own, okay? And the nice thing again is that, all this is private, so the big guys don't get your data when you do this, yeah? So we can copy this text. Gonna paste it here. So sucker wall Japanese text. I really don't understand. What is it? Press enter, and that will start the translation process. Let's bring this up. Okay, so it seems to be some sort of news article based on New Year's Day in Japan. All right. And you can even ask it to summarize this text to one sentence. So it kind of looks like a pretty decent LLM. So I say, the author reflects his reaction towards New Year's Day in Nago. Whether it's excessive or not is part of societal issue. So yeah, pretty decent, I would say. Given the kind of trade-offs that we've done on compute and also precision, I think it works pretty well. And you can kind of find like quite nice use cases for it. Yeah. Okay. So that's it for the Japanese English translation. We're gonna do the other demo as well. Let me see if I'm running short on time. No? Okay, great. So I'm gonna bring up the GitHub again. Yeah, so that was this whole section here. You do Llama, pull and run. And we have done this one here. So case one demo, pretty simple. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna go to number 2, personal assistant demo. So try to make this fun, and we're gonna be running a secret assistant within the Batcave. So assume the Batcave has no internet access, you're a superhero, and you can't leak your information out to the bad guys. Yeah. So this is a nice way of using local LLMs. So if you're FBI or CIA, maybe you want to consider this. It'll be a perfect sort of use case for you. So get rid of that. So I'm going to keep my Llama server running and get my code up. Here we are. Okay. Hope that's okay for everyone. So I'll just focus on the folder structure for now. So if you go on to day 5, in the GitHub repo, you have this code here, which we're going to run. And then I'll just sort of run through the folder structure for you. So what we're going to do here is basically have a document, or you can have a list of documents that you want Ollama to encode for you for your own use. Say if you have like a personal medical condition that you don't want to disclose, you need privacy on it, you can store your private information on your own servers and use on local LLMs, or any sort of private sensitive information, say financial information, insurance information that's highly quite sensitive. You can store this and use Ollama for your own use cases. Yeah. So what we're going to do is have Ollama and Python connect. Sorry, Python connect to Ollama. We're going to use a library called Llama index, and it's going to get Ollama to read in the document, and we're going to test whether it understands that or not. Okay. So let me clear this. Sorry, it's a bit messy. All right. So this is the code. You want to have these installed. So we're going to use Llama index for this. And I'm going to have the Llama index and Ollama integration used here. So if you're on Jupyter as well, you can use the same packages. I think someone's asking earlier. You can do this on IDX as well. Yep. So make sure you install your requirements and your pip packages before running this. I've already installed it, so I won't repeat that. Yeah. So I'm just going to run this in the Python repo below. Okay, so we're loading our packages in. Going to import Ollama. And here in this first line, there's a directory reader that's going to read in all your documents in a folder. Uh-oh. Ollama documents that does not exist. I think it might be in the wrong folder. Here I go. Oh man. A5. Debugging on the spot. Always fun. Meta. Llama. Source. Okay, that should work. Okay. So here we're gonna set Ollama to Ollama to connect to the Llama 3.2 model that we have earlier. Okay, I'm gonna give a slightly longer timeout so that it can use enough compute and generate the response that we need. And we also want to have Ollama embeddings as well. And embeddings is the one that will process your documents into a vector format and store it for recall later. Okay. So this is going to take a bit of a while, and it's going to go through the documents that folder. So you can have more than one document in the folder, and it's going to go through that sequentially. Going to save it into local embeddings. Yeah. Mike's asking about IDX. So I'm running this completely locally. That's true to the local LLMs team. I think we just mentioned IDX because people have been using it from day 2, 3, and 4. So some people might already be familiar, might not have like Python really set up on the environment. So it's just a nice way to run and test some code. But you know, I would run this locally if I had choice. Yeah. Does that answer your question, Mike? Okay, so that's done. Yeah, awesome. We are gonna now make the embeddings into a query engine, and we can send it questions to answer. Okay. So here I'm gonna ask Ollama and Llama 3.2, what's the latest valence doing? And this is gonna take a while. I can pull up what Ollama is doing in the background. So you can see in the background, it's really running and chunking through the embeddings, processing it, and running it through all the 3 billion parameters in Llama 3.2. Okay, it does take a while because I don't have a GPU, but if you do have, this is pretty fast. But we can get this in, I think, a minute or so, right? So once we get a response, you can always go back to the document as well to see if Llama's answered it correctly. There we go. So you can print its response now. Okay. So here it says, the latest villain intel includes Scarecrow, who is Jonathan Crane, developing toxins with hallucinogenic and mind control properties. Using East End, we have Two-Face, who is forming an alliance with Penguin to control the underground weapons trade. Riddler seems quite quiet, but he seems to be at Gotham University. Okay. Dubious whether that's correct or not. But what we can do is go to the secret documents here to verify that. Yeah. So I've like some other random information just to kind of mess around with Llama. Here, look. So if it's picked up just this section here. Almost word for word. But you know, pretty nice for a document search. I have to give a disclaimer here that it's not fail-proof, and if you ask it really tough questions, it might not perform as well as like, the bigger models. So you need to have a nice balance between the trade-offs between model size, complexity, and also the results. Yeah, I think that kind of concludes today's demo. Really, really simple. I hope you guys have fun with it. Go ahead and build something fun out of it. I'm also going to be building a Ollama to Android integration. Hopefully I can release this by day 7. But that'll be like a special extra bonus for you guys. All right. And I'm going to share the code too if it works. So just some tips here before we end. So when using Ollama, the good thing is you can choose the model that you want, and always choose the model that's appropriate for your size. What I do is go from the tiniest model and then work slowly upwards. So if you try the tiniest model, it may not be like very great performance. You may miss stuff, or you may get confused with your because of the reduced context window, or just the size of it is just limited. So you can work your way up to larger models from there. Yeah. You can try out with different prompts. So this is kind of segue into day 6, which will be about prompt engineering. Go look up promptengineering.ai. That's a nice place to start. And then try different models. You can test as well on the image recognition side of things. It's really fun. And also test out different quantization, as I mentioned. So quantization, you have like Q4, Q8, Q16, or FP16. These are like increasingly complex. You want to play around and see, like, again, that's a trade-off. You have like highly quantized models. Performance might drop. Might or might not. As you see earlier, we have a Q8 model, and it works pretty well, right? And yeah, just have fun. Enjoy the latency and the speed issues that will be resolved. Okay, so that's it for today. Gonna stop sharing now, and we're gonna open the floor for like questions and stuff. All right, thank you very much.
I had a quick question.
Yeah. Hi, yes.
Hi, this is Sanjeev here. So I guess I'm trying to understand I think you mentioned something about when you do quantization, you reduce the number of bits by a certain amount, right? Some fixed amount. So that kind of increases the performance, but that also, I'm assuming that has an impact on the accuracy of your results. So what is like that trade-off? Meaning, obviously you get higher performance because of less number of bits, but then in terms of the accuracy of the answers, there should be some impact, right? So what is that like? Is that something we need to be worried about, or is that something that I just don't need to worry about? Or do I find that by just experimenting myself with different models there?
Okay, yeah. So as I understand correctly, the question is about the trade-offs for quantization. Let me try to put it in a. Oh yeah, Subhash, you wanna?
I was about to reply something on the chat, and I was like, okay. So if you want an answer on that, I would say it's a trade-off between speed, size versus precision. Okay, so if you want speed, then you have to see that how to pick the model. Quantization always is like, that's where. Have you heard about this domain-specific models?
Yes.
So there are. So that's where when you pick a small language models, you have to see that if it's a domain specific for you, and you have to do a little bit testing before finalizing the model. So it's a trade-off. If you ask me what's the trade-off, it's a speed versus precision of what do you want. You want speed or accuracy. It's a trade-off you have to take. So always quantization model has a limited data sets has been trained on it, or it has been reduced. It has been reduced the data set within the large language. It's like a teacher-student model. They call it as like. So it always depends on what's your use case. For that use case, how do you fit in that? And you need to do a lot of pre-test to make sure that which model is best fit for you.
Okay.
You can't just pick one model and say that it's not giving me accurate data. You need to do a lot of test cases and see that what's accuracy mean for you. Is it like you might have a set of 10, 15 questions. Is that 15 question is answerable for you? That is, you're getting accurate answer, fine. But there is a boundary behind that which the model doesn't have the data set or data in it. So that's where you have the problem. So you need to do a test cases for that.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Hi. I was wondering if, give me 1 second, there's an echo for me. I was wondering if there is a way to use any custom model with Ollama, like I can pick any custom model on Hugging Face and use it with Ollama. Is it possible?
Okay.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
David. Sorry, I will answer chats.
Yeah, so you can connect Ollama to lots of different stuff. Yes, there is possible to sort of have Ollama serving a model from Hugging Face. It's possible. I was looking up as well. You can even connect to different SDKs. You can even use the OpenAI code that you have in Day 2 and have it connect to Ollama as well. So use the same syntax. So the team is actually quite it's like they're integrating as many things as possible. I think it's quite flexible in that sense. Yeah, Subhash.
What was the comment on OpenAI you just made, please?
Yeah, so Ollama is already integrated with the OpenAI SDK. So the ones that we have tested on Day 4, you can actually use the same OpenAI library in Python, and then you just switch out the LLM to Ollama. So the Python code using the same library will already connect to Ollama and not send the API call to OpenAI servers, but you run it, use the same library to get your inference and all the same syntax done.
I see.
Yeah.
So one last question on that is, so I can after I
Vikash, let me sorry to interrupt, but I'll add some more points to you, so it'll help you for the next question maybe. So there is a specific thing, GUF, or there is a format. Okay, so you have to, in the Hugging Face, you have to find the specific format that is what exactly supported by Ollama. I forgot the name of that. But there is a format. Hugging Face has a lot of models, but this specific format of models only supported by Ollama. You have to be taking care of that when you download it. Check that. I can't recall that, but check that there is a format for that. Yeah, GUF or something.
I see, and that determines the interface which Ollama understands.
Yes, exactly. That is that specific format is very important to justify that whether you can run that model on Ollama. Otherwise, in Hugging Face, if you go, there will be a lot of models. I struck with one of the issue and some time back. I think I came across it, but I forgot the name of that particular term. But you can figure it out in somewhere in Google. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just put in the chat as well. Someone mentioned Yuri, GGUF, that's the format. And
Yeah,
Hugging
GGUF.
Face,
Yeah, that's the one.
Hugging Face has already its own documentations on integration with Ollama. So you can check out that link I've sent Vikesh. It's on the chat, yeah.
Thank you. Very helpful.
Next question. Sorry, Vikash, I stopped it, but you can go ahead with the next question if you have.
No, I think you covered it. Just like you said, you already answered all my questions.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah. Let's go with next questions. There are a lot of questions in the chat. I'm just scrolling down. Let me and David and other guys can help you answer that over the call. If it's possible. Yeah. Yeah, Ryan.
I had a question. Is it possible to fine tune the parameters of the custom model when using Ollama? I mean, the temperature, the top K, top P.
I don't think so. See, Ollama is, as David has explained, what is Ollama? It actually is a framework which you run, and on the top you run your models. But there is no fine-tuning capabilities built in within Ollama. I haven't came across. Maybe I'm not aware of. But you can definitely fine-tune it separately. But Ollama is a runtime platform for running models. That's for I know. Maybe David, if you have any idea. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly right, Subhash. So it's like a very simplified version to run local LLMs. The only additional thing you can do maybe is you can set in the system prompts to send in to the model before your prompts. So that's a separate settings on the side. But the temperature and the fine-tuning, the tokenized number of tokens, so that it's not as granular as what you see on AI Studio, for example.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah. The next question. Feel free. I see a lot of chat questions, but feel free, Sharon, if something is. Let's make use of this time, so everybody knows. Get to know something. Yeah. No questions.
So
So-
one other question is,
Sure.
so just like you showed us how to run Ollama locally, let's say I have a specialized hardware, and this is something we were talking about 2 days ago, Subhash, if you remember. If I have a specialized hardware, are there any ways to deploy Ollama on that hardware too? Like if I wanted to test the edge part of it, how does Ollama run on the edge, and how does inferencing work there? If I want to get some statistics or metrics on that, is that possible?
That's definitely possible. Okay, so if you're able to, if David is showing something, if you're able to deploy in local, if you're able to run in a local laptop, okay, definitely it is possible to maximize the performance in if you deploy an edge. But again, it all needs the resources. Edge, you can take a laptop as an edge. So you can definitely, to short answer, yes, it's possible.
Right, right. So if NVIDIA offers any edge chips, it should be immediately possible, assuming the drivers are there to just deploy it.
I think Ollama supports GPU acceleration using CUDA. CUDA is NVIDIA's prime framework. So there is a possibility. But the day-to-day, the things are changing. So we need to check what's possible today. But there is a support for Ollama GPU acceleration using CUDA. So that has specialized hardware like NVIDIA GPUs that Ollama can significantly take advantage of. So so that is possible for sure.
Okay, okay.
Okay, just one question I'm picking up from the chat by Arunav. So he's asking, does Ollama retain session memory? To be really simple, within one session, when you run that's run model, it retains some form of memory, but a very simplified version. And what it does is basically all your previous prompts that were already processed and run, that will be resent behind the scenes by Ollama back into the model. So like a very simplified memory. It's not as complicated as like the agentic memory that you may see on other more advanced LLMs, where you have like a proper DB storage and Postgres or whatnot DBs running behind the scenes. Ollama doesn't have all of that running. So it's just really, really simple to keep the memory requirements low. But to answer your question, yes, some form of session memory. As I showed you earlier, just now also, when I asked it to summarize the previous text, it kind of remembers that bit and gives you the answer. So some form of memory, yes.
Great. Any more questions? If not, I have to share something to. No questions? All good? So today's session was fun and enjoyable. I think everything is giving an idea of, so if you want to self-reflect, if we are together self-reflecting that what happened from day one to today is like, we try to start with something to understand what is what. Then we went into cloud, what is what on the generative AI. Then we try to touch upon what are the cloud services offering from a generative AI point of view. We used tools like IDX, and we compared with the Jupyter Notebook and Cursor or whatever it is, like a Copilot and VS Code. So all these things we done. Now we slowly in today's session, what we have done is like we try to see, okay, cloud is a part. How does things works locally? How does things works in an on-prem environment? Okay, an air-gapped environment, something like that. So you have to connect the dots like this. So this is the flow. Okay, so you touched what are the services? We touched Bedrock in AWS and Google AI Studio and all these things. Similarly, Azure has its AI Studio. So we didn't had time to touch everything, but this is the flavor you got. This is the crux of what is happening in on-prem cloud environment. So with this, we will move forward to the tomorrow session of like prompt engineering, because AI is super smart as long as you give the best prompts. Otherwise, it's going to be crappy. So all these things require a prompt engineering skills at the back end at some point, because if you see, even in Ollama, you set up everything, but you need to give a right prompt. Otherwise, it's going to give you the wrong information. So that's where the session is driving towards. That's prompt engineering tomorrow. I'll drive that session with the help of team. And moving forward, like we end of the day, end of this whole workshop is day 7. Like we will touch upon like it's an open floor session. Whatever we have tried, whatever we all together tried, we can raise hands and share what was the exciting things you done during the session, what you tested, what worked, what not worked. Let's have the discussion on day 7. So this is how the holistic picture I thought of painting it, so that we get the dots connected. We are on same page, so making sure. David, anything to add, or Tibor or Sam? Feel free. Yeah. Excellent. Any questions on this? Anything not understand? So it's all we are trying to make see, generative AI is vast. If we go into each and everything narrow, it's not happening in 7 days. So we are trying to touch the tip of iceberg. So it's individual responsibility to go narrow and see what's underlying the iceberg. Yeah. Perfect. Thank you.
All right, yeah. So thanks everyone. Super happy to have everyone again. Love to see all the interactions. The chat was really awesome. Keep it going on the Slack as well. Shoot us some questions, challenges, send us some suggestions on the GitHub repo. We are completely open to all of your suggestions and looking forward to all your sharing, all the stuff that you have built up over the last 7 days. All right. So catch you tomorrow.
There is one hand raised. Is this
Oh,
something
yeah.
we can? Yeah.